Hi everyone, this is Jimbe from Liji Creations and welcome back to my channel. Thank you to the 600 plus people that follow me. If you're new here, subscribe, turn on notifications so you're notified when I post new patterns. Today we're going to be making this simple lace sleeveless crochet top with a tie back. And it's actually very simple. I have a written pattern, a free written pattern that you can find in the description box below. The stitches I'm going to use are the V-stitch, first stitch cluster, single crochet, and back loop single crochet. For this tutorial I'm going to use crochet number 5, acrylic yarn with Lurex, a 2.5mm hook, and I'm also going to need a pair of scissors and a darning needle and a tape. The actual quantities of the yarn can be found in the description box below, as well as in the written pattern. This tutorial works for all measurements. All you need to do is measure your bust, divide by 2 and add 4 inches. And this will be the size of your foundation chain. So to begin, you're going to make a chain based on the measurements that you found. Any number of chain that is divisible by 4. So any number of chain that is divisible by 4, and I'm going to make 104 stitches. And I will see you when I'm done with my chain. I'm done with my chain. As I said, make a chain of any number divisible by 4. I've worked 104 stitches, and now I'm going to start with my first row, and I'm going to double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. So the stitches I've left behind, that's my turning stitch. So double crochet in the 1st stitch from hook, chain 1, and then double crochet in the same stitch, then chain 1, skip 2, and then double crochet in the 3rd stitch to form a V stitch, chain 1 and double crochet in the same stitch, chain 1, skip 2, 1 2 in the 3rd stitch, make a V stitch, which is double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet in the same stitch, and then chain 1, skip 2, make a V stitch in the 3rd stitch, chain 1, double crochet again, chain 1, skip 2, and you're going to continue like this with this V-stitch pattern until the end of the row. So I'm just gonna make one more, and then I'm gonna see you at the end of the row. And I will see you at the end of the row. And I'm now at the end of the row. I've got 3 stitches left, so I skip the 2 and then double crochet in the last stitch. That's my turning stitch. As you can see, it's just V's. I encourage you to just count how many V stitches you have in that row and keep that in mind. And then we're going to work the second row by chaining 3 and then go to the chain space in the first stitch and then double crochet in the first stitch. I'm sorry, it's not focused. Make a double crochet cluster, which is 4 double crochets in the first stitch, and then go into the next chain space and make a double crochet cluster, which is 4 double crochet stitches. Go into the next chain space of your first stitch and double crochet in 4 times in the chain space. That's a double crochet cluster. And then go to the next chain space and repeat the same. And you're going to make clusters in all the chain spaces of the first stitch. I'm just gonna do one more and then I'm gonna see you at the end of the row. 3, 4, and I will see you at the end of the row. After the last cluster, sorry it's not focused, you just place a, that's my last cluster, 3, 4, work a and then chain 4, turn your work and then skip the first stitch and then double crochet, make a V stitch in the second stitch, chain 1, make a V stitch, chain 1, skip the first and make a V stitch in the second stitch of the cluster, chain 1, make another V stitch, chain 1, skip and make a V stitch in the second stitch of the cluster and continue until the end of the row. Let me just make one more. In the second stitch, make a V stitch, chain 1 and continue until the end of the row, and I'm going to see you at the end of the row. At the end of the row, you work a double crochet at the top of the chain that you made previously, so on the third stitch of the chain, and then you're gonna turn your work and then chain 3. You're going to repeat the second row, which is making clusters in the chain spaces. So it's 4 double crochet in the V stitch, chain spaces. And you're going to work in all the chain spaces until the end of the row. I'm going to make one more. Then I'm going to see you at the end of the row. And from here, you're just going to repeat row number 3 and row 2 alternating. So your next row will be V stitches, and then the next row, and then the next after that will be the cluster row, and you're going to make it as long as you want or as short as you want. I'm going to make mine 14 inches, and I think it's the standard size for everyone. Or if you want it cropped, you can make it 10 inches or 12 inches like the green one, and I'll see you when I'm done. I'm now done with my 14 rows. As you can see, I alternated row number 2 and row number 3, ending with row number 2. And then I'm going to work the framing for the straps or the cord for the back. So with the same yarn, we're going to work on the width of your work. Chain 1 at the corner, I was just reading my double crochet, so please don't get confused. We're going to work in the width that's against the rows. So we're going to single crochet twice in each row. So what you do is just follow the spaces of the rows. So single crochet twice in each row until the end of the row, and I'm going to see you at the end of the row. I'm now at the end of my row, and I'm just going to place a single crochet in the last stitch, chain 1, and then turn, and in the next stitch start working a back loop single crochet. So you're going to work in the back loop only of the stitch, in the back loop only of the stitch, single crochet. Until the end of the row, and then from here you're going to work 7 more rows in back loop only, in total making 9 rows. So I'm going to see you at the end of my 9th row. So I'm now done with my 9 rows. As you can see, it formed like a ribbon, and now we're going to do one last row to make holes for the cord. So you're going to chain 1, turn, and then single crochet normally in this first stitch, and then chain 2, skip 2, and single crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the third stitch. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next stitch, and continue like that until the end. And once you're done, you're going to repeat the ribbing part on the other side of your top so that it looks exactly the same. And I'm going to see you when you put in making the cord. To make the cord, you're going to take 2 strands of yarn, of the same yarn you've been using, 2 strands, and then make a slip knot. Once you've made a slip knot, then split your yarn into 2, and then yarn under the one in front and yarn over the one at the back, and pull through both loops. Yarn under, yarn over, pull through both loops. I've done a detailed tutorial on how to make a cord. You can find it in the description. The link is in the description box below, so you can find the tutorial for the cord. And make the cord as long as you'd like. I would say 80 to 100 inches would be the best size. So just continue until your cord is 80 to 100 inches, depending on your size. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter, that's up to you. Once you're done with the cord, insert it through the chain spaces that you made in the ribbing, and then you're done. and then you're done. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Until next time, thank you for watching.